Hi, today my review is on the Women of the Otherworld series by Kelley Armstrong, and currently there's 11 books in that series, but Kelley also does a lot of short stories and novellas to go with this series of books, and some of them are free and some of them are in different anthologies, but in all there's about 40 books, but there's 11 novels, and the 12th novel is out sometime next year, I think late in 2011. So anyway, I'm just going to refer to it as the Otherworld series, but it's based in a world where there is werewolves and witches and vampires and basically bits of everything, and sorcerers. And I think Kelley Armstrong created a really magical world, and I think it's referred to as like urban fantasy, because it's like it's like a normal world where there's just people in it who can do magic and turn into werewolves and things like that. So it's really well written. Kelley Armstrong's a really good writer. She's a great storyteller, and her descriptions of characters and of situations is done really, really well. And you know when you're reading the book that's a quality book, and I really enjoyed this series. The biggest strength and the biggest weakness of this series is that she switches the narrator of each book, so it's from a different person's point of view. And I originally read the first book and the second book, Bitten and Stolen. I read them together, and they were about the werewolves. So they were from Elena's point of view, who was a werewolf. And then I didn't really feel compelled to read the next book because I heard it was from someone else's point of view, from a witch's point of view. And I already got kind of invested in Elena's story, and I easily get invested in characters, and I don't like when it switches point of view. So I didn't really want to read the next book. But then about a year later I decided Kelley Armstrong is such a good writer, I need to read the next book. So I read the third book, Industrial Magic. Or no, sorry, that's the fourth one, Dime Store Magic, yeah. And I really loved it. It was from Paige's point of view, who was a witch we saw in the second book. And she's also the narrator in the fourth book. So the first and second was from the werewolves, and the third and fourth was from Paige, this witch. And I'm really glad I read them, because Paige is probably my favourite character now. And they were so enjoyable, and it was a great world created, and great characters, and great relationships between the characters. And so, like, if you're put off by the fact that sometimes it changes point of view between characters, you might be surprised and you might enjoy the story, because the people from the first two books are also involved in the third and fourth book, so there is kind of a interchange of characters, and some people show up in later books, so it's not just once they finish narrating they're out of the series for good. So that's nice to know. But there are other books then where I didn't like the narrator, and I kind of skimmed through it or didn't read the book at all. So as I said, it's one of the biggest strengths, because changing point of views allows you to see the world from other people's point of views, and you get to see different interactions between characters, and it is something really different and new, I think, to a lot of the series out there. So it is a good strength of the series, but also it's a weakness, because some people aren't going to love a certain character and they're not going to want to read that person's book. So it is kind of risky in that way, but I think the author took a good risk, because the majority of the time the books are enjoyable, but now and then you are going to find a character who you're not really going to gel with or like very much. But I do recommend this series. It's really, really good. I can't really get into too much specifics without giving spoilers away, so but there's loads of different characters, and the majority of them are really likeable, and there's really enjoyable stories. There's a good mystery to each book, and kind of crime or situation or problem to solve, and there's good twists and turns, and it's not too predictable at all. So they are really enjoyable. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to a review that has a bit more spoilers involved. So if you want to not be spoiled, I suggest you press back up now. Okay, so as I said, I really liked the first two books and the third and fourth book. The first two books are from Elena and Clay and all the werewolves. I think Elena and Clay are one of the really nice couples in all series, I think. And Elena is such a great character. I love Elena, and the werewolf stories are really interesting. But then I read about the witches and Paige and Lucas, and I love Paige, and I think I like Paige and Lucas a little bit even more than Clay and Elena. Paige and Lucas are so sweet together, and I really hope they get another book in the future. And then go on to the fifth book, which is Savannah's mother, Eve. I liked when this series was kind of in the more or less real world, but in the fifth book we see this kind of heaven place with angels, and I wasn't crazy about that. The only reason I actually finished reading the fifth book was because I knew Paige and Lucas were going to be in it towards the end, so that kind of brought up my opinion of that book because Paige and Lucas were in it. But otherwise I wasn't crazy about Eve as a narrator. Then the sixth book was Back to the Werewolves, Broken, and I loved this book. It was near perfect for me because I loved seeing Elena a bit more vulnerable, and you know, she needed taking care of because she was pregnant in this book. And I just thought the story was really exciting, and I really loved the sixth one. And then the seventh one was from Jamie's point of view, and I did not really like this book. Jamie, I mean, she's a nice enough character, but I didn't think she deserved her own book at all. I didn't even finish this one. And then on to the eighth book, we were back to Paige and Lucas a bit. So Lucas was a narrator and Hope was a narrator. I liked Lucas in this one, and Paige was in it again, so that was good. And I liked Hope and Carol. I didn't really read much about them previously because I didn't read the fifth book, or I didn't read the seventh book with Jamie. So overall I enjoyed the eighth book. I didn't think this Hope and Carol's storyline and Paige and Lucas' storyline intertwined well, like really well, but it was much better than the seventh one. Then the ninth one went a bit crazy because there was about 10 different point of views in this book, and the majority were characters we never met before. And I think out of all of the books, it was the one that just didn't really fit in. It was like it was from a different series or something. I did finish the book, and if it was just a normal standalone book by some author, it would have been okay, but I didn't think it fit in the series really well, and it was just too many switches of point of views, and it wasn't as interesting to me. And then the 10th book, we're back to the werewolves, and I enjoy that because I like the werewolves and I like Elena and Clay. I don't think it was as good as the sixth one for me, but I liked Frostbitten. I thought it was a nice change of scenery because they're in Alaska, and overall it was an enjoyable read. And then the 11th book, which is the most recent, it was just out, is from Savannah's point of view, and Savannah is 21 now, so she kind of has her own mysteries and problems to solve. I downloaded this book and I just typed in Paige's name and Lucas's name and just went to the parts of the book where they were mentioned and just read those parts because I wasn't really interested in what Savannah got up to outside of that, which is probably not a great thing to do because they were only involved in short phone conversations. So I didn't really read that book. Like I didn't really read the main gist of what was going on. But so then I was kind of disappointed to hear that the next book was from Savannah's point of view again. But I did read in the description that all of the other characters are going to be involved. So I probably will read the next one if everyone's involved. I'm probably going to be a bit lost because I didn't really read the 11th, but I'm sure Kelley is going to kind of give us a quick rundown of what happened. I do know Savannah lost her powers at the end or something. But yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to the 12th book. But I'm more looking forward to one of the short stories that's coming out that's involved with Savannah and Paige. So that should be good. It's called Counterfeit Magic, and that's out it's out today, I think, in America. But I'm not sure if it's going to be out here in Ireland in shops. So anyway, that was a quick run through of all the books, but overall, I know some of the books I didn't really enjoy, like the 5th and the 7th and the 9th, but all the other ones I really, really liked. So oh yeah, and the 11th. So I definitely recommend the series. It's really good. I think it's really well written, great characters, great storytelling, and I think it's just a good series overall. So I do recommend it, and thanks very much for watching this review.